Hello, welcome to Worthy Wednesday. Y'all, I'm late. I'm sorry. Today, my daughter and her team received their WCC championship ring, and she called me while I was at work, and I was flabbergasted. Like, you see the rings on TV, and y'all, it's just that big. I mean, a huge box, diamond, gold, everywhere, bling-tastic. Anyway, so I totally got distracted as any normal parent would get distracted, and I spent the last 45 minutes posting about all the things that she is. Also, I'm about 19 days away from her graduation, where she will earn her master's in business administration. And she's done that in less than 5 years. Well, 5 years, because she graduated May of 2020 in the height of the pandemic. And now in May of 2025, she'll be finishing her master's degree. Anyway, all of that to say, I was late, not because I wasn't ready, but because I got distracted being that mom, because I have always been and will forever be that mom. But anyway, welcome to Worthy Wednesday. I hope y'all are having a great day. It's pretty sunny here in the state of Arizona, so for that I am thankful forever. But I was actually thinking while I was doing all that, some things that really had spoke to me over the last, I don't know, forever in my life. And I was like, you know what? We've been talking about some of the requirements for miracles, and we talked about self-control, which I still have not managed to circle back to that. Okay, but y'all just keep me accountable, okay? We also talked about time, which requires seed time and harvest. And then we talked about rest as an action verb, and then we talked about rest as a noun. But I wanted to say something else about rest, but then I was like, bro, it's wearing me out, all puns intended. And I said, tonight I just want to briefly talk about one of the major requirements of miracles that we see every day in 2025, and that is just saying thank you. I feel like being thankful is probably the least and most unappreciated gift that we have available in our regular lives. Saying thank you to people, saying thank you to God, saying thank you when you receive something, sometimes even if it isn't what you want to receive. Now, I'm not talking about an unexpected bill or, a speeding ticket, but even though you knew you were going to get that because you were speeding already. But what is the power of saying thank you? Like, honestly, I just started thinking about it profusely, because when you are in the field of education, it is so important to model the behavior that you want your students to see and that you want your students to reciprocate. I don't care if the student is 5 years old or 17 years old. If you model what you want in front of them, they will reciprocate. I have a student specifically that has come to mind, and I'm going to just tell you the story, but then get to the other part. This particular student, I was at the board last week and I couldn't remember how to say this word. Like, it literally it was like just flew up. I was like, man, I know this. And anyway, so I was like, ¿Cómo se dice? Like the whole time. And this particular student said, Miss Copeland, and I was like, yes, because at that point I was pretty frustrated, right? And the student goes on to say, well, do you know Spanish or not? Anyway, y'all, first of all, I just started laughing. Like, I literally busted out laughing. And then the entire class started laughing. Well, at first I think the class was like, you finna. Okay, I'm not sitting by this particular person. Anyway, I was laughing really hard because I just thought that was hilarious. Like, honestly, in that moment, I did not know that word. And perhaps for that student, they believed that I didn't know Spanish. And although it was a great way to break the ice, I said, thank you for that, because I was so frustrated. And honestly, what was being frustrated going to do? Nothing, because my brain was like, yeah, Korea, I don't know it right now. Like, move on to the next thing. And as soon as I started talking about something else, then I was like, oh, it's this. And then they were just looking at me like, okay. Anyway, so I had my own moment. But anyway, I really think about how important it is to say thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being there. Thank you for opening the door. Thank you for responding to my email. Thank you for giving me the correct change. Thank you for saying goodnight when you leave a store. Thank you for being you. I also have two things. Okay. Number one, let me just say this about saying thank you. It needs to be genuine. Can I just tell you that, worthy women? Like, I hate disgenuine people. Okay. You know how some people can use thankfulness as a way to be petty and as a way to dismiss the actions that you are actually giving and performing for them, in a sense that makes you think, well, I shouldn't have done anything for them anyway because they are completely ungrateful. And I don't want people to confuse gratitude and thankfulness because they're different things. Like a lot of people say, no, if you're grateful, you're thankful. That's not true. I've been grateful for a lot of things in my life, but not thankful for them, right? Because who's really thankful for dead? Nobody. Who's thankful for having to stay up all night? Who's thankful for having to pay your bills, having to do a lot of things? But I need to understand, and it's my ambition to help all of us understand that requirements of miracles before, during, and after, even when you're not in the anticipation of a miracle, is understanding the importance of saying thank you. You recognize that someone else stepped outside of who they were, stepped outside of their comfort zone, perhaps stepped outside of what was expected of them, and provided a gift, a service, a word of encouragement, whatever it is that that person provides to you. If you are not thankful, why then would someone else be willing to do something towards you or for you when they just saw you model unthankfulness? Like, it's crazy to me because where I am, the children are older. They're in high school. So when a young man opens the door for me, I say, thank you, kind sir. And they always smile, which tickles me to no end, because it's important for kids, whether they're 6 or 16, to know that we appreciate, I mean adults, okay? I'm not talking about other kids. I'm talking about adults. We frustrate and we yell and we complain and we do all these things about young people, but what have you modeled to them? Have you modeled gratefulness? Have you modeled appreciation? Have you modeled respect? Have you modeled integrity? Okay? Have you modeled accountability? Because like sometimes I want to be like, thank you for that, but not really, because I'm not very thankful for it. So anyway, the first thing is, when you say thankful, you need to be genuine. Like, honestly, where does thankfulness come from? It comes from a heart that understands this was not anything that I did to earn or garner or manipulate. Something that is truly given. I am thankful to you because I understand I did not have to be the recipient of this. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Like, when you say thank you to someone, when you know that that person genuinely, without any prejudice, without hesitation, without any preconceived idea or notion, without any desire to make you feel or think that they are manipulating you and you have to pay them back, that comes from a place of being who they are, and you should recognize that by being genuine in offering thanks to them. Okay, it's crazy because we only want to say thank you when we get things that we want. When I get a new car, I say thank God. When I get a new house, thank God. When I get a new job, thank God. When I get new, shoes, car, whatever, I am thankful, right? I say I'm thankful. Thank you, God. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, everyone. Thank you who helped me. But am I really thankful for those things? I don't know. Buying the cars, it's a debt, right? So I guess I'm happy I got the car. I don't know if I'm thankful I got it, but I'm happy that I got it. If you need it, that's a different thing. You are thankful because it met a need, right? Even if it comes with a little bit of extra responsibility. But why is it that we don't want to say thank you, right? Because if I am, number one, genuine in my giving of thanks, then number two, the thing I'm really wondering about people is, why do they, and because I know y'all don't do this stuff, so it's totally fine. I know none of us as worthy women would ever do these things where people would question who we are at our very center because we are not truly thankful. So firstly, I want to know, and I want you to understand that in order to be thankful, it must be genuine. It has to come from a heart that understands I did nothing to deserve this. And not poor me, not I'm unworthy, none of that. But just understanding that something that is given and provided, I am thankful to have received it. The end. I need to be genuine about it. The second thing I think we need to understand about the requirements of saying thank you is delivery of thanks. Okay, I'm just... You guys, sometimes my tone can be very not so thankful. Okay, I'm not going to talk about other people because I believe and I know that I could actually be the poster child for this, right? I have had it said to me many years in my adult life, not in my 20s, but probably about 27-ish and going forward, that I can come across as intimidating, or I can come across as stern or blunt or dismissive or even uninterested at times, because perhaps my tone indicates to people that I am uninterested in what they are saying. And honestly, I can tell you that I have been those things, because I am an adult and I have no problem admitting that if my tone or my behavior seems off to someone, it could be true. And I'm wondering, as adults, this is just a caveat for all of us to grow up a little bit, okay? As a caveat, if people correct you or they mention something to you about your behavior, your tone, your attitude, and your immediate reaction, because it's not a response, you're reacting to what they're saying, is anger, if it's more dismissiveness, if it's an attitude, if it's like, I don't want to be with you anymore, you're terrible, then I'm just going to tell you right now that what they're saying is 100% true. See, the problem is that if you are not willing to look at the man in the mirror, then how are you ever expected to become better than who you are today, tomorrow, if you say everything I've done today is absolutely perfect? That means whole, complete, missing nothing. Anyway, so the problem I'm having with thankfulness is understanding that I need to be a deliverer of being thankful, right? I cannot say, oh, thanks, because you're going to be like, okay, it has everything to do with the tone. It has everything to do with the attitude. It has everything to do with the place that thankfulness comes from. Like if someone rear ends your car, you're not going to be like, oh my gosh, thanks so much for that, right? You're going to be like, thanks a lot, you know? And we misuse the word, because am I really thankful for being rear-ended? No, I am pissed off about being rear-ended, but it's the same concept that I want us to parallel in our lives. You guys, how I respond, okay? Because I want us to respond in a tone of thankfulness instead of reacting in a tone that does not exude thankfulness. See, this girl told me, and I've never forgotten this. She said, we need to listen to respond, not to react. Okay, so 9.999% out of 10, we are all reacting. We are not responding. We are reacting to what people are saying. We're reacting to what they're doing, because the human nature and the human psyche automatically begins to formulate responses based on what people are saying to me, right? But when you have an attitude, when you have a manner, when thankfulness is exactly who you are. See, this is big girl stuff, because nobody wants to talk about this, but it's fine because I'm talking to myself. Okay, when you actually understand why thankfulness is who I should be at all times, even if I am not accepting of certain things that have come into my life, because that's just life. But if my attitude is genuine in thankfulness, my delivery will always show genuine, which is requirement number one, thankfulness, right? So when I get something I like, I'm like, oh my gosh, thanks so much. Yes, girl, I appreciate you. All those things. But if I get something that I don't want, but I still need it because it's required for my growth, it's required for maturity, it's required for development, can I still be just as thankful? I'm going to just go ahead and answer. The answer is no, because we don't want that. We don't want to be just as thankful in that space. What we want to be is angry. What we want to be is bitter. Actually, I'm just tell you what you really want to do is retaliate. Okay? I want to react to what you said because I didn't appreciate it, so I'm just going to tell you this, right? And then I'll say, well, that response, which was not a response, it was a reaction, is because of what you did. But the truth is, actually, you just wanted to do that, so you did. So how do I create a delivery of thankfulness? Because honestly, worthy women, I'm gonna tell you right now, it is a challenge to ensure that when I say thank you, number one, that it's genuine, and number two, that the delivery matches the genuineness of me understanding why I'm thankful. So how do I work on my delivery? Well, first of all, I'm just going to tell you have to be quiet a lot. And I'm not really talking to anyone. I'm just talking to myself. I have to understand that thankfulness does not come from me talking or from me saying it. Thankfulness comes from me receiving. And if you were like me in any sense, I have a very hard time receiving things. I have a great time giving. I'm good at that. Great time. Of helping other people, seeing other people if they don't see themselves. But if it comes to me, I'm like, well, I don't really, hey, I didn't ask for that. Okay. But If I am going to deliver thankfulness, I have to listen. Listen, thankfulness comes from observing. It comes from seeing. It comes from hearing. It comes from participating, right? See, in order to see a miracle every day, how do I know what I'm looking for if I'm not listening? If I am not looking, if I am not touching, if I am not sensing, what my senses tell me, I'm like, this is a miracle right here. I should be thankful for this, right? But how do I know that if I'm always talking? I mean, I don't know if you guys understand that. If I'm talking, no, how am I listening? Impossible. Sometimes I'm talking to myself and I'll have two students talking to me at the same time. I'm answering the student in my head that's talking, but I'm helping the student that's in front of me, right? And so then I'll be like, just a minute, please, or un momento, por favor, because what I need to do is focus on one thing in order for me to give that all of my attention, for it to be fully engaged, for me to deliver in a way that is acceptable, and for me to deliver in a way that makes a difference, right? But if I am always talking and not listening, I don't know how to see. I don't know how to hear. I don't know how to receive. I don't know how to touch or feel things that are miracles because I can't hear them, right? Do you know how sometimes you don't hear things that you touch, but based on what it is, it creates a sound, right? If you grab cellophane paper, that sound indicates to you what it is that you're touching, right? So if you hug your spouse, or if you hug your children, you hug your niece, you hug your husband, right? When you hug them, that touch creates a sound of safety, a sound of security, a sound of, oh my gosh, I really like them. Oh my gosh, I really, really like them, right? When you see your favorite TV show, when you see your parents, when you see a childhood friend you haven't seen in 50 years, it creates a sound. You're just like, oh my gosh, I remember when we did this. I remember when we used to do this. I remember when we talked about this. See, when you are silent, delivery becomes natural. I'm just, y'all, honestly, this really is about us understanding that saying thank you and actually being thankful are two different things. And I know y'all know that because we're adults. So of course we know that what I say is not really at all times an indication of what I believe, because we understand the mind and the mouth connection, right? What I believe in my heart really comes out. It doesn't. I can say all the things I want to say, but what I really believe in the moment, that's already here, and it's already here, and it's going to come out here. So I want us to think about this the rest of this week. What does being thankful really sound like? And I'm going to tell you that being thankful sounds like silence. It sounds like me observing the things in my life that have occurred, things that are currently being and getting ready for me to see on this side of heaven. It sounds like me observing, touching, feeling, seeing my life for what it really is. A miracle. Worthy women, I think you understand what's happening here, and understanding what are all the requirements of miracles, things that self-control, right? And then resting, and then time, and now thankfulness. Learning how to say thank you for the things that I already have, because I'm finally quiet enough to see, hear, taste, touch, or smell them. Every day, right? It dawns on me every day when I am silent. I can be thankful for all of this. I can be thankful for the ability to get up, to go to take a shower, to brush my teeth, to comb my hair, to do all these. I can be thankful for all these things when I'm silent. Now listen, obviously you have to say thank you with your mouth open, right? But your heart of thankfulness cannot be cultivated by speaking. It has to be cultivated by knowing. It has to be cultivated by understanding. These are gifts that I have received, and I've done nothing to receive them. Every day I can find something to be thankful for, not because I'm searching for it, but because I'm quiet. And because I'm quiet, then I'm able to, with all of my senses, observe the miracles that I see. Y'all, I want you to understand, in 2025, I am telling you that I have been experiencing miracles in a way that I didn't expect. I think it's because I used to think that miracles were grandiose, and they are. But what I've learned more recently is that miracles are things that are happening every single day. Like the fact that my daughter will graduate in 19 days or so. The fact that God has kept her, the fact that she has only had one injury that could have ended her career, but it didn't. A miracle, right? The fact that she has worked tirelessly academically and graduated magna cum laude and now graduating with high honors in her master's program. Like, these are things that I could not have said thank you for had I not been able to see them, hear them, taste them, touch them, feel them. Today they got their championship ring, I told y'all, and I was like, this is crazy. It's a miracle, right? I saw the work with my own eyes. I heard it. I felt it at all the games, in every gym, in Portland, in Sandy, everywhere I could see and feel and taste and touch. And I was doing no talking then. I was just silent. So thankfulness for me, when it comes to her, comes from a place of just observing. I am thankful that this is her life. Shut the front door. What a miracle, right? I am just telling you that I have learned in this short time in 2025, and while I have been on this earth, I need to be genuine when I say thank you. That's number one. And I need to be quiet. If I'm looking for a miracle, I need to start saying to myself, have you been quiet today, Kari? Have you actually given yourself the opportunity to see all the miracles that are around you? I'm learning that every day is a gift, right? It's true. Every day is a gift. But in order for every day to become a miracle, I need to start saying thank you. Not with the intention of ever getting anything back in return, but being thankful for what has already been given. And I wish for all of us that we would learn how important it is to be thankful for what we do see versus what we wish we could see. Y'all, all day, every day in 2025, miracles. I'll see you again.